Good day, friends. Welcome to Our Power is Within. I'm your host, Chasmith, aka Just Chaz, and I am on a mission to inspire people to take their power back and help people to realize that each and every one of us has a healer within our own self. When we can create an environment that supports healing and get out of our own way, we are truly capable of healing in mind, body, and soul. Will you continue to help me spread this message so that we can inspire even more people in this coming year? There are several ways that you can help me support this podcast and spread the message of empowerment, healing, and possibility. You could take a moment and leave a 5-star rating or a quick review on Apple Podcast. You could share your favorite episode with a friend or on your social media, and of course, tag me at Our Power is Within. So, for this week's challenge, I think that we are going to base it off of a topic that my guest today and I heavily talk about on what influenced her healing, which is values. Do you know what your top values are? Do you know what values are actually driving your behavior? They say that if you look at your bank statement and how you spend your time, you will quickly know what values are driving our actions. The thing is, sometimes I think we get stuck operating from values that come from parts of us, also known as part time personalities, but not necessarily our true, authentic self, also referred to by Dr. Cathleen King as the adult main personality. Some of us have never thought about what we value um, for even a day in our life. I mean, I've talked to people and they're like, oh no, I've never thought of my values. And if that's the case, we're often driven then by values that probably aren't supporting our greatest good, and we're most likely operating on what we would call default mode, default creating. So I think a really good first step is just getting clear about what values are driving our life today and what values that we would like to create um, for our future to create a life centered around what we desire. And then see where is the gap. And then ask yourself what choice you can make today to step into a true value, regardless of how uncomfortable it may feel. So that's the challenge. Just begin to ask yourself some questions and then gain clarity around your values. And of course, as usual, have fun with it. Our guest today is Laura Rasines, here to share with us a testimonial. And who doesn't love a good old fashioned testimonial? Laura is from Spain, and after experiencing her perfect storm, Laura eventually found her way into the DNRS, Dynamic Neural Retraining System, which is a brain retraining program. After a couple years of committing fully to DNRS, she made a shift and got a private coach, Dr. Cathleen King, who I interviewed back in episode 26. If you haven't checked out that episode, I really encourage you to do so, where we dive deep into the Primal Trust mentorship, which is the mentorship that Laura ended up entering into after working with Dr. Cathleen King privately for some time. Laura has so many wonderful things to share with us about her journey and what she's learned along the way, what she's overcome, and of course, what she's up to today. So please enjoy. All right, Laura, thank you so much for being on the podcast with me and everyone listening today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm so grateful that you reached out. It's super exciting for me to, as we were talking about offline, have another like a pure testimonial episode. It's been a while since I've had an episode that really just focused on the testimonial, and as we both know, it's stories like yours that really always help people and re-inspire people and give people hope as they're navigating their healing journey. So yeah, I'm really excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
And so, with that said, I would really actually just kind of like to open the floor and let you start to tell your story. I know that this is going to be the first time that you kind of tell it verbally to an audience. So, I know there was I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was actually a brief written testimonial about your like healing experience on the DNRS form, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Awesome. And now you get to share it out loud. So I will let you have the floor and you can just tell us about your experience using DNRS and any other tools that might have showed up in the process that really helped you on this experience.
All right. Yeah. Well, my name is Laura Rasines, as it is pronounced in Spanish. I'm from northern Spain. And, well, I've always been a very active person and super playful and that kind of stuff. And then, like 6 years ago, things started to change a lot for me. um, I was living in a city called Bilbao in northern Spain, and I was beginning to experience kind of really strange symptoms, like I don't know, feeling like I was seasick on the street, buzzing on my head, and many other things, and I was just getting super scared, and I began to just go to doctors and that kind of stuff that we always do, and nobody gave me any answer. Um, so yeah, I was just kept with my normal life, and things progressed in a bad way. I mean, I was getting worse and worse, and as many of you know, and we call in the DNRS community, my perfect storm, as we call it, started when I was coming back from vacation on Mallorca, and I went home and I got a UTI infection. Okay, that was normal. So I went to my doctor, and, well, they gave me a course of antibiotics. I took them. And after that, all my symptoms were there. So something was not right. Okay, so I came back to my doctor, and she gave me another course of antibiotics, and things even got worse. So after that, everything started again like a nightmare. All of specialists, doctors of any kind, tests, and I was getting worse and worse and worse till the point that I was bedridden at my parents' place, because my partner left me when I was, when I was going through all of this. So I had to go back to my parents' house, and but I was just seeking for solutions. Even though I was in the midst of all of this, I was just looking up for solutions, and I went to forums and chats and so on, and one person told me, well, it seems like you, by your symptoms, may have Lyme's disease. And I was like, what? I've never heard about that in my entire life, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna look up what this is. And yeah, I came to the conclusion that many of my symptoms were very similar to that possible diagnosis. So I thought, okay, I'm in a real bad situation, so I'm going to test myself for this. So I did it, and the results came positive with co-infections. And after that, I started with treatments and so on. But I wasn't getting better. I was like, yeah, they helped me a little bit, but I was I was very nervous. I was with a very high level of anxiety and depression, and I couldn't make the right choices, to make the right decisions in that time. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna let go and see if the universe, God, or whatever helps me and gives me like a sign, or a sign where I can go, for to get answers. So excuse me. So one day I was just looking up on the internet, and I found DNRS. So I was reading about it, and I was thinking, oh my God, this sounds really amazing, and that may help me. But it wasn't the time for me. So I just left that information and kept with my treatments that were so expensive, super expensive. I had to go to Madrid every 3 months and spend like 4,000 euros on my treatments. And everybody knows, this kind of chronic illness, the treatments are so expensive worldwide, super expensive. And to the point that I had to just raise a crowdfunding campaign, and many people helped me, which was so amazing, and that helped me a lot. And things were getting a little bit better on the time. It was November 2017, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to go back to that DNRS thing and let's see what happens. And I began to just do my research and found that, oh my God, this is me. This is me. I'm going to buy the DVDs. So that's what I did. I bought the DVDs, and I just took a Christmas break. Like, okay, I'm going to start this on the 1st of January 2018. But by now, I'm going to just focus on calming myself a little bit and just, keeping up with the treatments and so on. And then I'm going to just wait for the 1st of January to just begin with with a DNRS program. And that's what I did. I was in a wheelchair. I was in a wheelchair by that time. And I remember that on the first week that I watched the DVDs, I got that kind of excitement, because I knew that I was going to heal, that I left my wheelchair. I was walking, of course, with a lot of it's, as we call it, in the DNRS community, the symptoms still there, but I was like really determined to just keep going and leave the wheelchair. And that's what I did. And that was the first aha moment, because before that, my energy was really low and I couldn't even walk. I was dragging my wheelchair and it was hard for me to walk. And on the first week of the first week of the year 2018, I left my wheelchair, and that was mind blowing. I was like super excited, super happy, and I kept doing it and it's been a journey with lots of ups and downs, with ebb and flow, but it's been an amazing journey for me. And now, after almost 3 years and a half, I consider myself almost 90% recovered. I'm still working on trauma, the trauma part, and so on, but I live a pretty normal life. Yeah. So this is an overall view of my journey. Yeah.
What year did you have your perfect storm again?
When?
Yeah, what year?
My perfect storm began in the fall of 2015, where I got
Mm, yeah,
those kind of small symptoms,
yeah.
and then it all got really, really worse on April 2016, when I went back from that vacation time on Mallorca.
Okay. Yeah, so a good 2 years from the time it kind of first began until you really went back to DNRS. When, curiously, because this is a common theme for so many of us, I know I did this too. When did you first get introduced to DNRS? When you said, "Oh, I looked it up, but then I just like put it on the back burner."
I was on a Lyme disease forum on
Hmm.
Facebook, and an American woman told me, you know what? Maybe you can try this program, the
Yeah.
DNRS program. And I was like, what? DN what? So I looked it up on the internet, and I was like, oh, this seems really interesting. But it didn't
It didn't click yet.
click yet.
Yeah. When
Exactly.
do you
Yeah.
know when that was? Like how long before you went back to it in November 2017?
I guess it was July or June 2016 when I first
Oh,
knew
so
about the program. Yeah,
you like went a straight like at least even more than a year before you finally went back to it.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I was first introduced to it like Probably about 7 months before I finally went back to it. It's funny, I had it open. I had the the browser, like, or I had the website open in my phone browser for like 7 months before I finally went back to it. And it took somebody else bringing it back up. It took I mean, I think it's like a lot of us go through this where we've already been trying all these things and spending all this money and nothing's really working. So you kind of get a little pessimistic or lose a little hope. And then you see this program and don't really understand it yet. And you're just like, oh, it's just one more thing, you
Uh,
know?
yeah,
But
exactly.
I got so lucky because like somebody else about 7 months later brought it up again, and I thought, okay, well, you're the second person who's brought this up, and you're somebody I actually really value your opinion, and yeah, so that was really cool. But it's interesting how often we kind of get that seed planted, but we're not quite ready yet. And then we end up finding our way back to it, whether it's DNRS or the Gupta program, or I mean, whatever brain retraining or healing program. We just often stumble upon something that could be the solution, but we have to be ready to be ready.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely agree. Yeah.
So you said that now you're 3.5 years and you consider yourself like 90% recovered, though you're still working on healing some trauma in other parts. Are you still actively engaged in a brain rewiring program, or has your program really shifted and been more personalized and customized for and tailored to your needs?
For me, it shifted a little bit
Hmm.
because I don't do like the 4 rounds every single day. I do them if I find myself that I am just, having like, I don't know, a little bit of stress or anxiety. But right now, what I do is I am more focused on somatics, just to
Hmm.
heal trauma and, you know, rewiring the nervous system differently than only with DNRS. So
Yeah, I think it's a really natural progression. Like when we have that limbic impairment, we really need to first focus on calming that down, and then in a lot of people's experience, we get to this place. I don't know if you can attest to this, but for me, I think I've said this before. When I started calming the limbic system down, when I wasn't so it's weird, like I suddenly was more aware of the feelings or sensations in my body, like that body sensation of anxiety like started to become more present. And
mhm.
so I was able to like notice that I needed to shift more into that like kind of uh like healing from the body rather than like from the top down or top up instead of the oh, I'm saying this all wrong. Healing from the bottom up rather than just the top down, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah,
I found that to be like this kind of natural progression. Um and you said that you you are living your life, like living a normal life now mostly. And so
yeah.
something I'm really curious about is this may or may not have happened for you uh along the way. 3.5 years, this is a long journey. At any point in this 3.5 years, did you notice that like the life you desired and seeked and sought and that sounded really authentic for you, did it shift at all from the life you were previously living prior to your perfect storm?
Um, I guess that happened like 1 year and a half ago when I focused more in what on my values, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
because when I was doing the NRS, I was just doing all those random visuals and that kind of stuff, feeling good stuff. Okay, but along the journey, I've just recognized who I am, like
Mm-hmm.
what is that I love, what is that I love doing every single day, and I started to just do that kind of activities or follow those values, and it all just made sense like a puzzle. Like for example, let's say um, I I am a very adventurous person. I love traveling, and I don't have to go like in a long journey or in a long trip, but I can go maybe um, somewhere near my house with my camper van and have that value alive, and
Mm.
that gave me a sense of who I really am, because in the past I was thinking that I was so lazy, that I was always depressed, that I was always anxious. And with this journey, I discovered that I am that I am very different from that, you know.
Mhm.
And that really helped me shift my focus on only DNRS, you know, because I was seeing progression using this approach. Like, okay, I'm going to do rounds, but I'm going to visualize myself doing what I love, not just random stuff.
Mhm. What helped? What was there any tools or any person or a coach or anything specific that helped you to discover this desire to start to rewire in a more focused way? Like, what led you to realizing that you wanted to start discovering your true values?
um, in my journey, Kathleen King was pivotal. I mean, she is so important in my journey because she was my coach for a time, and she always focused on that. She always was telling me, you gotta just focus on what you truly are, and that has to be your northern star, you know, because if you don't do that, you're not going to heal, and you're not going to transform in the way you deserve.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave me like a sense of, okay, I can do this in a different way, and I'm
Yeah.
allowed to do it, because I was afraid of just letting go of the DNRS structure. I was so focused on DNRS for almost 2 years and a half, you know. So it was this was game changing. You know, she was game changing for me. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, this is also common. I also, just so you know, personally experienced that too. Like, I've talked about this, just getting so fixated on like wanting to do it right, the program right, and that fear that if you don't follow it like right, that you won't heal or that it won't be okay. And it's funny because when you put it in perspective and you're like, well, wait, there's like so many different brain retraining programs out there. And
Yeah.
whatever program people find, they're having success with it. So is there really one right way to do it? You know, like, but we can get so fixated on that. And I find it's that like, those personality traits of like perfectionism just
Yeah.
showing up in the actual process of whatever program we're using to help us heal. So can those personality traits can be tricky little suckers, and they still like work their way
Hmm.
into our life.
Hmm.
But yeah, learning how to like detach from those fears and shift is huge. Did you do Dr. Kathleen King's program, or did she coach you one-on-one?
She coached me one on one
Oh,
for
wow.
a while. Yeah. And then I did Primal Trust this
Ah.
year. I attended Primal Trust program, and that that was amazing. Her program is amazing, and it made sense to me
Mhm.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
That is so awesome. I hear that over and over again. Way to go, Dr. Kathleen King. Woohoo. Shout out.
Yeah.
um, when you are just kind of, going through the program, for like these 2 years, you're rewiring, you're having success, but you eventually start to get coached by Dr. Kathleen King, and you're starting to understand this concept of values and integrating your values and learning what your values are. What were some of the tools that you used, or what was like a catalyst to really help you hone in on what you valued? Because so many of us, when we first get ask this question, what do you value? And I think Dr. Kathleen King even talks about this in her Primal Trust, that a lot of times our values over the course of like doing a mentorship program like that actually shift, because we learn that what we thought were our values weren't actually like our true self values. They were
Uh-huh.
like values from parts of us. And
Hmm.
so was there anything specific that really helped you hone in and discover what was true to you?
I guess in my journey was remembering what I love to do when I was a child,
Mm.
because that was a time in my life where I really felt free, you
Hmm.
know. And I discovered that with going back to those memories when I was a little girl, and I used to go to the park and roller skate and go places by myself and so on. I came to the conclusion that, okay, I love adventure. I love being free. I love being, playful. And that was so easy for me because I instantly connected with a part of me that was really shut it down, for a long time, for a long
Mm.
time. And it was like making peace with that little girl. It was really beautiful. It was really beautiful. In fact, nowadays, I am part of a roller derby
Cool.
team, which is mind blowing. I was in a wheelchair, and right now I'm roller skating, with those girls, and I feel amazing when I put on my roller skates and I just roll. I feel like I'm 7 years old again. It feels amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Roller derby's no joke.
No, no, it's no joke.
Yeah, it's intense. It's fun. I went to I've been to a couple roller derby competitions and got to watch some badass chicks out there. Yeah, that's so awesome. And so was roller derby or like skating something that you had done in your adult life prior to your perfect storm, or was this just like this whole new outlet?
um, I used to roller skate when I was maybe 26 or 27, but really, really, like, very few times. I was just trying by myself if I was able to roller skate. Not just engaging in the thing. So for me, it was this time. It was brand new. Like, oh my gosh, I'm part of this team, and I got these roller skates on my feet, and I can do it. So yeah, feels so good. Yeah.
That is so awesome. I did a lot of visualizations of like rollerblading in San Diego when I lived in San Diego in my early 20s, and I felt so free and it was so much fun, and you're making me want to go pick up a pair of rollerblades again. And it sounds so fun. uh, and okay, so what other shifts have you noticed like in your life today from 3.5 years ago? Like, because your life today is probably not the same as it was pre perfect storm. So what other positive shifts have you experienced?
Okay. Codependency. I used to be really codependent with my partners. I didn't know how to be, in a relationship without being codependent. And that's being huge, huge on my journey. I'm still working on it. Okay. I guess this is a lifelong journey with codependency, but this is something that made me understand that a lot of my suffering with my partners, the partners that I had along my life, was that I was so codependent. I was always afraid of being loved, you know? And I've learned a lot with this. I also learned to integrate parts that were so afraid of my dad because I still have lots of trauma related to my dad, but now I can have a very different relationship with him and admire him, even though I can have you know different perspectives, about stuff that he thinks differently. I I have a very different relationship right now with my parents, with people. I still react. We are humans, but I still react with people and with some situations. But I've gained a lot of perspective on that, like knowing that I have a temple inside of me and that I can go to my center every single time when I fall off the wagon.
Mm.
Yeah, now I am not afraid, not as much as I used to, um, about people and their opinions. That's so liberating.
Oh my gosh, I bet. I love how you said that. I have a temple inside of me and I can go back to my center every single time I fall off the wagon. Because yeah, we're going to fall off, but that's so beautiful that you can say that and like feel that way, and it just feels really empowering.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And one thing that I am so proud of is that even though English is not my mother language, because my mother language is Spanish, I've been living in the States for 3 months, a while back, a while ago, in the year 2000. And this really helped me to save my life. Just speaking another language, for me, it's been like magical. I have a beautiful connection with the United States. And one of my dreams is just coming back and kiss um, the Grand Canyon's soil because
Mm.
that's that's that is a magical place. And when I was really low, in a really bad shape, I used to think about the Grand Canyon and all the beautiful stuff that I was going able to do when I got better, you know.
Mhm.
So for me, this was absolutely magical. Since I was a little girl, I always wanted to dance ballet and so on. And my mom was like, no, no, you are going to just learn another language. You're going to learn how to speak English, and that's going to help you when you will be an adult. And guess what? It saved my life. It saved my life completely. Yeah.
Yeah, well, your English is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's your goal? You're gonna come back to the Grand Canyon soil?
That's my goal. Gathering
Yeah.
money, and when all of this worldwide stuff, gets better, that's what I want to do the
That's
most. The
that's
most.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. So you've been learning a lot. You've been because it's I mean, from what it sounds like, you've become very self-aware. So it's like not like, oh, everything's just healed and perfect now, but I'm very, very aware and I know how to respond and I differently to things, and have a new perspective. Do you feel like a lot of this came as like a natural progression through DNRS in general, or do you feel like more of this came from the work you did with Dr. Kathleen?
Um, I would say both ways.
Yeah.
Both ways. But maybe with Dr. Kathleen King, I got like a more spiritual perspective
Mm-hmm.
on that. Yeah.
Okay. And what are you doing now still? Like you said, somatics, and working on like trauma healing. Are you
Uh-huh.
working with a coach now, or are you pretty much at a place where you feel really confident to just approach this with yourself?
Right now I'm not working with a coach. In in fact, I am a coach. I'm coaching other people. I'm helping other people to heal, implementing like DNRS. And yeah, I feel like right now I have like a more wide perspective of what I'm doing, and I guess I'm more self-sufficient right now. Yeah.
And what are your favorite tools to use right now, just to kind of continue on the healing journey, but also to sustain the new habits, new practices?
Um, I like to use tools like somatic experiencing tools. Like this is a tool that Irene Lyons team shows in their programs, and it is called orienting, and it is
Hmm.
also rooted in Peter Levine's work, and I love doing it every single day, every single day. Also AVCs from Primal Trust program from Kathleen King, and yeah, just trying to be present. That's very important for me because I still have a mind that tends to go um, to the past or to the future, and catastrophize a little bit. So I try to stay grounded and present. Yeah.
That's really well said. That's awesome. And you said you coach now.
Yeah.
So you have like a full coaching practice?
I'm building it up, still
Yeah?
building it up. I'm mostly coaching people from Spain. But I also have people from Italy, so it is growing.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm very happy. Yeah, thank you.
4 years ago, 5 years ago, pre Perfect Storm, did you ever think you would be coaching other people through their chronic illness recovery?
Absolutely no. No.
No.
No.
What did you used to do before this all happened?
I used to be a makeup artist and a
Oh,
graphic, yeah, and a graphic designer. And yeah, this was very unrealistic, to think about all of this. Yeah, like imagining helping other people in this way was like, you know, um, not a possibility for me because, I was having that conception about me that I was lazy, that I was, all that bad stuff that we used to think about us.
yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. And so did um in all of this, do you feel like in a sense the experience of the chronic illness um was the universe's way of like redirecting you?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
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 And what's been the biggest gift in all of this experience?
Starting from scratch again, like knowing that you have like a second opportunity in life, and that you can build whatever you want. Like if you want to climb a mountain, you can just prepare yourself for doing that, and with structure and commitment, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. And no matter what that voice is telling you, you're stronger than that. You're stronger than that. And that showed me that we have an amazing potential. And with this kind of things happening, with the perfect storm and that stuff, you wake up. You wake up because you lose everything, and when you lose everything, you have everything to win in the future. That's what I learned. Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool. Yeah, it's really beautiful. What do you um would you say that that's your like the biggest message that you want to share with the world, or do you have even more of a message that you are passionate about sharing?
And I also want to share that this gave me a better connection with God in what I consider God, you know, because I've been always receiving signs from the universe and God, but I was so, um, sleepy, that I didn't see them in the past, and now I can see the signs, and that everything is here to teach us something.
Hmm.
And that's so beautiful. From your pain can heal the world. I love that phrase. Your pain can heal the world. Yeah. And also open a new perspective on your spirituality, and make you connect with what you consider God is gonna make you feel whole, because everything is impermanent in this world, but your connection with God is still there. Is still there. Is in your heart. So that's imperturbable, and that's beautiful.
It's a good word. I don't even think I can say that word. Wow. Yeah, I love how you said your pain can heal the world. It really reminds me of that other saying, your mess is your mission.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we can like see beyond it, like see the possibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's so funny because sometimes before all this stuff happens, it's like you're living this life and you think it's the life you're meant to live, or you think it's like the life you're supposed to live, or it's like the only life you can live. I don't know how to say, but like, it's like we're just going on living without realizing that we actually have a choice, like that it doesn't have to be that way, that it can be different. It doesn't have to be this like not self-esteem playing out from all of the deep or the years of like deep conditioning and trauma accumulated. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we get to this place where like, oh wait, like it actually can be different.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you don't wake up, the universe is gonna make you wake up with a
Yeah.
perfect storm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, right? Hopefully, so that we have a chance in this lifetime to like
Yeah,
redirect.
yeah.
Definitely is a gift to me for sure. Like I think, well, sometimes I admit it, like I see other people and I'm not sure, you know, it's like, well, are they aligned? I don't know. And are they able, they're not having like the perfect storm where all these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think, God, but I don't know if I'd ever want to unknow the things that I get to know now because of this experience.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it is really a gift, even though it's hard to see sometimes when you're in the thick of it.
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
you said for coaching, you're mostly coaching people in Spain, but also some other countries, and
Mm-hmm.
you're supporting people who are kind of doing a rewiring journey themselves, or like what's your ideal client these days?
Well, my ideal client right now is people that are doing DNRS and they don't get, the basic concepts of it because they have the language barrier. Because DNRS is all in English, and here in Spain, there's a lot of people that have a lot of problems, health problems related to the limbic system, and they cannot access to the information because they have the language barrier. So I'm
Mm,
helping that kind of people, and also people that want to recommit to their center and to grow spiritually too.
that's so
Yeah,
awesome. And we need that. We need that all over the world. We need that in so many different languages so that people can be supported.
yeah,
Because you're right. Like I've had people reach out from other countries that felt really, it was like, and I didn't realize, and I had said, oh, it would be so great if you could get like a coach to support you. And they were like, there's no coaches that speak my language. I can't, like, I need
yeah.
it to be in my language because they might know some basic English, but not enough to really, really integrate this deeply. And so that's awesome that you're doing that.
Yeah, yeah. I feel really grateful for what I'm doing these days. I mean,
Hmm.
it's really fulfilling to help other people transform and heal. It's a double paycheck.
Hmm.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so, what's your North Star look like these days? Like, what are your goals?
um, my goal is to keep growing my coaching business and to be a digital nomad. I don't know exactly where I'm going to be. I have a partner that I met when I was in the midst of my DNRS journey, and I am with him, and you know, maybe, yeah, just keep on helping people and growing myself and just following my instinct and my yeah, and all those values. I mean, it's just a discovery process, and I'd love to keep on traveling the world. That's something that I love, and I want to travel the world, and I want to still, um, having this inside journey, which is so beautiful.
Mm, I love it. My goals very much aligned to yours.
Yeah,
The world is such a beautiful place.
it
It's
is.
so fun to travel. It's like beautiful in its physicality, like the actual nature, you know, the natural elements of the earth are so beautiful, but it's the people too. The people everywhere you go, they're just so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, and the
Um,
food, and the food.
we can't forget about the food. The food is really good too. It ruins your taste buds though when you go somewhere and have all this amazing new food that's like so new to your palate, and then you go home and you're like back to the basics.
Right? Yeah.
Oh. What do you feel like is something that's still a struggle for you today in this journey?
Oh, I guess I'm still struggling with accepting others. I mean, I accept people. I absolutely do, but I'm still working on standing, uh, being in the Tao of the opposites. Is what Kathleen Kings in her program shows. Sorry, teaches us. Like that, having that divine neutrality. Like, okay, I know I am just surrounded by people that have different interests, and I do, and I can still hang out with them, you know? Just
Mm.
not being an extra, like the black or white view, you know? I'm still kind of struggling with that. I'm a Leo, and I tend to go to extremes, you know? I have a lot of fire inside. And yeah, that's what I'm working on. Like not being reactive, like having more patience, and yeah, integrating everything with divine
Hmm.
neutrality. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that and being open about all that.
Thank
It's
you.
really good self-awareness, so that's awesome. What do you like if you could share one message with everybody who's listening out there in the world, what would your message be?
That everything happens for a good reason, and that there's always a journey for you, a journey for healing and transformation, and it doesn't have to look like others people's journey. It's your journey, and you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna fall off the wagon, but if you're determined, if you have like structure, you're gonna make it. You're gonna do it. Just to keep going and search for the path, aligning with your truth. That's what you need to transform and heal. Yeah.
And through your experience, not everybody can do Dr. Kathleen's program. So, in your experience, what advice would you give to anyone who's listening who isn't able to do something like that program, but does want to discover what their true values are and learn to align to their truth? What would you suggest that they could do?
I would say go to your childhood and look for things that make you feel great, because those are your most, I guess, core values. How you used to have fun, what did you like to do when you were a kid? That's still inside of you. That's gonna be one of the your core values, and then they can change, but you have your foundation with them. Yeah. If you go there, you will find simplicity, because right now, if you're very limbic, you just cannot go and figure out them. It's better to go to your childhood and yeah, and take a look there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you feel like there is anything else that we missed that you feel like is just like a really important part of your journey or the story that you're sharing or your experience that could help other people?
I guess when you're grateful, even though you're in the midst of pain, if you can find a spot inside of you that feels grateful, God is going to give you signs of what your path is sooner. That's what I that's what I experienced. When I was just, complaining and thinking, "Oh my gosh, why me? Why me?" I couldn't see the signs, I couldn't see that I was, being advised, from a greater source. But if you feel grateful, even though you're in the midst of pain, you will have more information of what your path is. And you can follow step by step, your intuition better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Gosh, I personally experienced that, and there's definitely been an ebb and flow, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Some days are harder than others, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
just whenever you can get back to that gratitude, absolutely. You said that so well. It's so true. You can totally just you just I feel more connected and I feel like more guided. So true.
Mm-hmm.
How can people connect with you?
Well, they can connect with me through my website, which is www.neurovital.es, on my Instagram account, which is Laura Neurovital. Okay, you can search me on Instagram, or yeah, I guess those are the main ways. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Laura Neurovital on Instagram or neurovital.es on the
Yeah.
web.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have any final thoughts or messages that you would want to share today as we wrap up your beautiful testimonial and story?
Yeah, I would say if you're doing a neuroplasticity program, keep up with the great work. Don't measure your progress by your symptoms. That's very important. And follow your intuition. Just keep going and have faith that there's something greater than you that has like a perfect plan for you to transform and heal. You gotta just, make that leap of faith. You gotta
Mm,
do it. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, that's a beautiful way to end a beautiful testimonial and give some hope to the people who are listening.
Yeah, thank you so
So,
much.
yeah, thank you. I love hearing testimonials. I think we all do. It's just such a beautiful way for us to connect to other people, and connection is so important in the healing journey and in life in general. And it's really great when we can hear other people's stories and get this chance to really connect and remember that, like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And like you had mentioned somewhere, my journey doesn't have to look exactly like Laura's journey, but still getting to hear your journey inspires me to know that it's possible, what is possible, because like we're so unique and so also similar in the sense that yes, we're all unique and our journeys are going to be different, but if we
Yeah.
all have the same ability to heal, we all have the same birthrights, like, so yeah, it's just really nice to get these testimonials and give people that inspiration and that hope, and help remind them of possibility, and to remind them that although we're different, we're not so different.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk
Of
about my
course.
journey. It's been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, such a huge step for growth too, I think. Getting to actually like speak out loud and share our stories is such a huge step, in this journey. So great job.
Thank you.
All right, that's a wrap. I hope that you left this episode today with an ounce of inspiration. And, most likely your journey won't be the same as Laura's, but I do love testimonials because I truly feel they give us hope, knowing that while our journey might not be the same, our healing is always 100% possible. Have fun exploring your value systems, and until next time, create a great week.